day today on ARCN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. I welcome you to the program Agric Economy. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. I have in the studio with me Mr. Advert, who shall be taking us through the impact of agricultural development on Nigerian economic growth. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you know how we do it on the program. We hit the ground running. Yes, quickly we'll start with basically what agricultural development is.
Agricultural development is a consistent improvement in agriculture over the years, moving from subsistence farming to modernized farming and now to commercial farming. And this has taken off over the years in Nigeria, for example. At a point in the 60s, agriculture is the main driver of the economy of Nigeria before oil came into being, and consistently or systematically agriculture was now reduced while oil and gas was now improved upon. But we see that agriculture is gradually taking its pride of place due to development over the years and improved research and production and productivity in across the agricultural value chain. And we have discovered that when we talk of agricultural production in Nigeria, it has increased in so many leaps and bounds to the extent that as of last year, agriculture contributed about 25% to our GDP, while crude for oil and gas has about 19%. So you can discover that agriculture is gradually taking its pride of place. We also discovered that in the area of employment, so presently, agriculture is still the highest employer of labor in Nigeria, looking at about 70% of the labor force in Nigeria going to one form of agriculture or the other. So agricultural development is very significant in Nigeria, and its positive activities cannot be overemphasized as regards the economy of Nigeria and its impact on the economy.
So, looking at it as a whole, the topic in a nutshell. So, what are the impacts? How does it? Because most times on the program, I like to, relate it to what, a peasant farmer can actually understand, because that's the target for the program. So now, what is this impact so that farmers can understand that, oh, so I have this power over, this is my contribution, and it's not just me making money and the rest of it.
Yes, we've discovered that over the years, agriculture has made huge impacts in Nigeria. It has increased Nigeria's foreign reserves in the area of export, because we have major exports of agricultural products like cocoa, sesame seed, yam, so many of them that are generating foreign exchange income for Nigeria. We also discovered that agriculture has also made Nigeria to occupy pride of place in the world when it comes to production levels. We discovered that as of 2022, Nigeria is the highest producer of cassava in the world, producing about 59% of the world cassava. And over time, there is improvement in it. So agriculture has brought Nigeria to the world map, and that is why we see that even some Nigerians have taken prominent positions in major agricultural boards like food and agriculture in Africa, and so many other organizations, UN-based and otherwise, that are looking and focusing on agriculture. So agriculture also has really helped Nigeria when we talk of food sustainability and the area of employment. So it's very important that a farmer should feel proud if he's contributing positively to agricultural output in Nigeria, because agriculture, to everyone that knows about it, is a practice of dignity. It's a practice of patriotism. It's a practice that when you are engrossed in it brings wealth, and it also makes people to be able to project further for the future. And so agricultural practice in Nigeria, being a farmer, is noteworthy and is something that one should be proud of.
So, what are the, looking at the financial, um, how would I say, engagement of the federal government so far has it been?
To agriculture.
Yes.
The, as at the last administration, so much was projected for agriculture, and to a large extent, some positive achievements were recorded, while there were also negative achievements as well. But one thing I can say specifically is that every year, even previous administrations make focus on agriculture, because we know that we cannot live without agriculture. But the implementation in some of these times have been haphazard. So I see between last year and now deliberate attempt by the government to actually implement government's budget as regards agriculture. And it is when this is done that we can be able to say yes, we are getting there gradually. Because looking at the percentage of budget to agriculture, we have not gotten there yet. We should be looking at having at about 8 to 10% of the budget dedicated to agriculture. But presently it's about 1 point something percent, or sometimes in the previous years 0.4 or 0.5. So we are getting there, but we need to act very fast if actually we want to achieve what we can call agricultural revolution in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Because it can only be achieved when government is focused, government is deliberate, and plans are implemented as it should. And the people that are implementers of these plans are held accountable for the positive feedback and the negative feedback as well.
Okay, we talked about in other climes where the sector is one that is being driven by the private sector.
Yes.
Here we hear every stakeholder dragging in the government to come in and do this,
Yeah.
come and do that. Yes, government has to create an enabling environment, so to say, and all whatnot. What can we do in changing the narrative from government doing this, and then win stakeholders even within the country now, not even necessarily talking about coming from the abroad.
There are some key factors of production that also relate to agriculture. That is land, capital, and location of industries, for example. Uh, Everybody knows now, and I used to say that there is enough fertile and arable land in Nigeria for agriculture to thrive. But we discovered that we have not even cultivated up to 40% of the arable land in Nigeria. So the government needs to create enabling policies. One thing that I used to say, when you want to compare developed economies to developing economies like Nigeria, is that the government over there create an enabling environment, and they leave the private sector to take the initiative. For example, when you go to the United States, they create, before they will designate a place as an agricultural hub or settlement, they will have provided basic amenities. They will have provided information. They will have craved the interest of agricultural commodity exchange of those states to see what is there. They will have started partnering with the would-be investors in those areas. So when you are coming into such agri hub, you are coming with full confidence and full chest that whatever investment you put in this place is going to yield a positive result. And the government policies over there does not change drastically overnight to the extent that it can harm the investment of the people over there. We are not saying that government does not have a say, but when you go to developed countries, the say of government is largely regulatory, while the private sector runs the business as it should. But when you come to Nigeria, some of these factors are not there. When government creates the hub, there's the farmers that will be looking for how to get roads that their farm implements will pass through. It's the farmers that will be looking for electricity, irrigation networks, and so many other things. And when you saddle the farmers with all these responsibilities, it first weighs the farmers down. His capital is reduced drastically, and he loses focus, because the farmer's focus should be on improved seedlings, cultivating the land, ensuring that it brings out improved products and get it to the market intact and with high quality. But when other factors that are supposed to have been done are now taking the attention of the farmer, it makes the farmer not to bring quality output out. The farmer will be struggling about light, water, and every other thing. So it affects the output of farmers in developing countries. And that is why we talk more and more about government every time. That's why we say that farming in West Africa or Africa, for example, has 70 or 80% government input in it to succeed, because the initial enabling environment has not been provided. So the government in Africa and Nigeria as a whole needs to go a step ahead to provide this enabling environment. Look at, I give you an example of this, what do we call it now? Where Dangote refinery is in Lagos.
Yes.
It's called, there's a name they give them, free trade zone. Free trade zone. Free trade zones that are established by government, even in Nigeria. Before you get to those free trade zones, they will have provided basic amenities like roads, like electricity, and some other amenities that will make the place attractive. Also, you discover that where Dangote refinery is, it was situated very close to the sea. Why? Because of the needs assessment of the refinery itself. So when government is creating free trade zone, for example, they look at the needs assessment of the area, they look at the resources available in that area before those free trade zones are created. That, if it can be done in other commercial aspects, this free trade zone idea can also be introduced in agriculture, where there is coexistence or co-sharing of agricultural inputs, and these basic amenities are provided for scaling up farmers, subsistence level to commercial and large scale. You put them together, they co-share amenities, and they are able to succeed all together. Putting them, what we call localization of industries, putting them closer to where their raw materials are, putting them closer to their markets, putting them closer to where they can easily be able to export their products to other clients is very important when it comes to agricultural success. So the government needs to look at this in a holistic way, not only to be providing funds for agriculture alone. There are so many other factors that must be put into consideration so that agriculture can actually thrive, and we can get to the level whereby we can say that farmers are the richest in Nigeria. We can still get there.
Okay, this project you just cited as an example brought me to remembering the Mambila project, which until now farmers were told that if this project is completed, it's going to be a good irrigation space for farmers all year round farming and the rest of it. But until now, we have not heard anything. It is well. Okay, quickly we'll take a quick break. While we return, the program continues. Stay tuned. Yes, it's still agri economy on and television, and we've been talking on the impact of agricultural development on Nigerian economic growth. And my guest in the studio, Mr. Gabriel Dakolo, has been taking us through with examples of what the impact of the sector has been to Nigerian economy. With the hope that with the prospect and the earnings of the present administration of Olame Tinubu is going to, get much more better. Going forward, like I said earlier, living with what's the prospect? We are here. We know the problem. We know, we know where we know where we have issues. We know where we are getting it right.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? So that agriculture continues to contribute well to the nation's GDP.
Yes, the last administration has tried its best to project agriculture as best as it could. And we discovered that in the projection of agriculture by the last administration, focus were made on some key agricultural products like rice, that is grain, and cassava, and a few of them. And it was projected to the extent that some states got interested and private investors came in, and that led to production or mass production of rice, for example. But as it is, we have not even reached self-sufficiency in rice. So going forward, the government should look at what the last administration has done. The government should look at the pitfalls that characterize the last administration's intervention in agriculture and improve on it going forward. We know that some of the investors that came in for rice production and other types in the past have faced some challenges. These challenges should be reviewed. It should be looked into with a way of ameliorating their concerns to ensure that the production can increase. We also discovered that even as we are presently, the central bank, for example, has lifted ban on, and the government has lifted ban on importation of rice and so many other agricultural products that were banned in the past. So that shows that there is going to be competition already. So how do we stem competition or discourage people from importing? It is by flooding the market with quality products that can compete favorably with those that are being imported and at a cheaper price. So the government should focus on ensuring that whatever policies that the government is going to put in place in agriculture in Nigeria going forward enhances competitiveness, enhances quality, enhances price stability, and also ensures that the farmer increases in prosperity, because that is one of the things that can make continuous focus to be on agriculture. And just like I used to say, agriculture is easily and can be the highest employer of labor in Nigeria as it is now, because it takes a little of understanding of it for youth to go into it and other people to go into it and get engaged. So it's not, you must not go to university to study agriculture before you practice it. So it's just for you to go through how it is done, practical and theoretical, and go ahead and get it done. And looking at our population that is increasing continuously, we cannot but ensure that more people look into agriculture and we churn out enough food to feed our teeming population.
Yes, you really hit the nail on the head. I was going to come to, the employment and the attractiveness of youth to it. I know that during the past administration, like you rightly mentioned, growing was part of what the former minister, focused on. And after this administration came on board, it just became like, all would I say, the struggle in
Yeah,
ensuring that Nigerian rice competes favorably
it's
with that.
dying down.
It's already good because if you look at it, even our local rice in the market now sell for almost 50,000 naira. While of course the foreign, because most of these rice are rebagged.
Yes,
Some of them are
definitely.
even still Nigerian rice with rebagged.
And foreign
So
posture.
what do we, because we know that when each administration comes in, this person comes with their own style of
Policies, yeah.
governance and policies, and what do we do as regards continuity?
Um, just like I said earlier, continuity is very key. And that's why you see that there is no harm in jettisoning some policies
Mm,
that you feel might not go in line with what
yes.
your projections are.
Mm,
But you must not jettison continuity in any administration. And that is why I presently am really, really against the lifting of ban of imported rice in Nigeria. What Nigeria should have done is to ensure that we increase the capacity of production in Nigeria to the extent that one, we will have so much and more than enough, and the price will be competitive enough and lower. Now, what encourages foreign rice importation is because of the high cost of local rice. So by the time, I tell you, the cost of importing rice to Nigeria, for example, is far below 40,000 when you look at the cost, the logistics, and every other thing. And what makes the cost of selling in Nigeria to be this high is because the local production is high as well. So you discover that it is even more profitable to import
but,
those rice because you will sell, it's expected that you sell higher
mm,
than the local ones. And the local ones are high now, going to almost 50,000. So those are the challenges. The ban on rice shouldn't have been implemented now. We should have allowed self-sufficiency in that sector, in that area of grain. I want to use China as an example. Some years past, China was just struggling like Nigeria. But China decided to close its economy like we did in the past administration, banning and closing borders and stuff like that. And by the time China came back after like 10 years, China came back stronger. Buy China idea was implemented
mm,
to the extent that China became a net exporter of all kind
all
of
kind of
products.
products, including
In
all.
name it. And today, they are arguably the second largest economy in the world because the close policy on various sectors was properly implemented. And by the time China opened its economy, it also opened its people to opportunities. That's why China does not only export products, it also exports its people to different areas and different continents to be able to sell the China idea. Why can't Nigeria look holistically at the China idea? I'm not saying that we should follow it hook,
Follow it,
line, and
yes.
sinker because China is a communist economy and Nigeria is a
It's the
democracy.
quest.
So some of those things might not work, but we should pick the positives out of it and implement it properly. We've discovered over time that policy somersault does more harm to our economy than good. So when every new government comes, especially prevalent in the states, they just scatter everything that the previous administration has done and they start afresh. That means we have wasted 8 years
Another
and we
one
are
starting.
cleaning another one. So for how long are we going to do this? That is why the government, when we talk of agricultural policies, should not jettison the previous existing agricultural plans that are in place. Instead, it should improve on it and remove the negative aspects with a view of making it better.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on the program. I hope that one or two persons from the top is listening to this episode. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you
That's
for
it
having
on
me.
the program Agric Economy. You've heard it. There is no need or some of these policies have been thrown away, some needs review, while some, of course, has no place in today's Nigerians' plan and policies. Anyway, that's it on Agric today. My name is Khadija Oluwatoyin. I'm saying thank you for joining us.